All right, hello everyone. I'm excited to get this thing going tonight. Um, I was just contemplating before the live stream. I took a small walk, and I was just really reflecting on how thankful I am for all of you guys, and just how uh, I may not have a huge channel or a lot of subscribers, but I have very dedicated subscribers, and you guys keep coming back and contributing and everything like that. So thank you very much. Uh, Anyhow, if this is your first episode, or if not, I just want to give a reminder that you shouldn't be getting the framework directly if this is any time in the future, because the framework will be evolving and changing. So rather, what you should be doing is using the um, you should be using the Bitbucket for the episode that we're on. So let me show you that real quick. If you go to bitbucket.org, Parham Curtis, click on the live e-commerce YouTube course, and then if you go to source, you can see right here in underneath this branch selector, each episode starting with episode 3, we have where we left off in those episodes. So this is episode 15 that we're on now. Go ahead and pick up episode 14 to start the video with, but I do want to remind you guys, don't try to program along with me during a live stream. Just watch and ask questions and make suggestions and find my bugs that I always make, and I know you guys will. And follow along, and then go back after the episode and go ahead and do your own project. And so if you want to check your work at the end of the episodes, I always post where we left off to the episode. So at the end of this episode, I will push to this episode 15 branch. Also, there is no episode 1 or 2 because we started over. So simply we start with episode 3 through 15 so far. So what I'd like to do tonight is do a little bit of filtering and searching. So build kind of a search bar and some filters to start filtering our products out. In preparation for that, what I've done is I've added more products. It doesn't matter how many you have, but I just thought it'd be easier to filter if there were more products. I've also added several products that aren't featured. So there's a couple here that aren't on the home page that will show up during filtering and searching. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of get started on that. And then if we have time, I think what would be beneficial to wrap the night up with is to go ahead and add pagination. Because once you get a lot of products, you don't want to try to load too much at once. It'll be a real slow page load and it'll overwhelm users. So we'll add pagination if we have time today, which we should be able to get to. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to build a little mobile responsive side pane that will open and close here. And when it opens, it'll have a search bar and some different filters in there. And we could add additional filters in the future, things like that. But to get going with, let's just dive right in. So I'm going to jump over to my editor here. And the files that we're going to need directly here are, so I'll go ahead and open the app, and we're going to be in the home controller. And then we are also going to grab in the models, we're going to grab the products model. And then in the views, we're going to grab the home index. Okay, so starting out with, we're going to start with these files. Also, we're going to need some CSS. So I'm just going to open up the CSS and open the custom.css here. And the first thing we'll do is just add our HTML and our CSS for the opening and closing bar there. All right, so in order to do that, let's just go ahead and jump into the index.php. And what I'd like to do is we have this main section right here, this main div, and I'd like to create kind of a wrapper and to put here. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to move this h1 just inside of this main div here. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is we're going to add a surrounding div here. And I'm going to give that a class equal to, it's going to be dflex. So it's going to be a display of flex, which is just bootstrap there. and then I'm going to do a 2-column wrapper. I'm also going to give this an ID of 2-column wrapper. It's not completely necessary, but it is going to make my JavaScript a little easier in a moment. The next thing I want to do is we're going to wrap this main div here, put our closing div here. So now we have this section here, the main, that lives inside of there. The next thing that I need to do is I want to add an additional div, and we're just going to use an aside here. I'm going to give that a class equal to filters wrapper. And this will be the column that actually stores our filters in our search bar. So let me go ahead and close that out. So the next thing that I also want to add in here is one more div. And this div is just going to be a toggle that will open and close the search bar. So let me go, we're going to use a div here. And we're going to give that, you know what, we don't even need to give it that one a class. We're just going to give that one an ID of expand filters. Okay. And then what we're going to do is inside of there, we're just going to put an icon there. And we're going to give this icon an ID as well of toggle icon. And we'll give it a class equal to fastfa search, which is a font awesome icon for just a magnifying glass for search. All right. So hello, Denise. Bonjour. I can't speak French or any other language, so I butcher everything. But anyhow, hello and welcome. Tonight we're doing searching and filtering. So we're just going to knock out some of the HTML for that right away. There's not much going on here now. If I just refresh the page, it actually looks all funky. So that's not a big deal. We'll fix all of that with our CSS, but you can see our little search icon up here. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is inside of, let's go ahead and just add our HTML for our form real quick. So I'm going to just do a form, and I'm just going to give this thing an empty action because I want to post back to the same page. And we'll do a method of post, and then I want to do autocomplete off so that it doesn't try to cache the values that people search for, because that's super annoying in the search bar. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add a div with a class, a form group, and I know I could use my form helpers here, but not going to right now. So I'm going to give this a label, and the label I want to give it a class equal to SR only, and that's because I only want this to show up for screen readers, the label part of this. So this is going to be search. All right. Hello, Andreas. Hello, welcome. Good to see all of you here tonight. It's awesome. The turnout's doing pretty good. 9 people on right now. Oh, we just lost 2. So I guess I wasn't doing that great. All right, so then we have the label. And then what we're going to do is give this thing a div with a class equal to input group. I'll show you why we're going to do this in a second. Close that out. And then inside of here, we're going to have an input with a class equal to form control. And I'm going to give it an ID of search. We'll give it a name of search. And we're going to give this a value. We're going to give it a value of this. We're going to echo out this search, which we haven't added yet. We're going to have to add that in the controller, but I'm just lining that up because we'll need that. And I'm also going to add a placeholder here. So the placeholder is just going to be search. All right. And don't worry, we're going to be pretty quick with this HTML. We don't have too much more to do. We are going to use form helpers for the rest of it, but so here we're going to add a button, and this button is going to have a class of input group append and button info. Simeon, hello. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I'm going to close that button, and this will be basically this will submit the form if they press it. Inside of here, I'm just going to do an icon, and again, we're going to give this an icon of fast search. So it would be the little magnifying glass. Okay. So now that we have that, let's see. It's going to look all funky right now. We'll get to the CSS momentarily. So we have just a little input group here, and this little error message that's inside of here, this value, is because we haven't added that property to our object yet, our view object. That'll be easy. We'll do that when we get to the controller. So don't worry about that. I'm also going to give this another class. We'll just do button and button info. Just to give that a color, I want that to be kind of a light blue color so that they can click that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got a little typo here. That doesn't matter. I mean, it still would have been a problem because I haven't added to the controller yet. So obviously, like, that would have been a bug. So good catch. But either way, I haven't defined it in the controller, so that would have been a problem there. Yes, we're going to do pagination as well. So here we go. So we're just going to continue on here. The next thing I want to do is add some. I want to add more because what I'm thinking is I want to do a search bar, and then I want to be able to do a minimum and maximum price to search on, and also by brand. And so we're gonna do a select box for brand, and then we're gonna do a lot of. Eventually, there'll be several filters here if we keep going with this. Rodrigo, I'm your fan number 1. All right, that's awesome. Thank you, and thanks for being here. So you said I had button info outside. Oh, I did it. You guys will, well, maybe you do, but it's very difficult to type and talk at the same time, so I end up making a lot of silly mistakes while I'm talking to you guys. So thanks for catching that stuff. Venezuela, all right, thanks for being here. All right, so we're going to continue on here. Welcome to everyone that's here. The next thing I'm going to do is outside of this form group here, I'm going to go ahead and add a div, and we're going to give this a class of row. And then I'm just going to add the rest of my form helpers here. But in order to use form helpers, I need to go ahead and import that. So I'm just going to say PHP, and we'll use core \FH for form helpers. All right. So now I have access to my form helpers class. So then in here, what we're going to do is start echoing out some form inputs. So this will be FH. And we'll do a select block first, not a select clock, but a select block. All right, and this we're going to give it a label of brand, and then we're going to give it a name and an ID of lowercase brand, and then we're going to give it the value of this brand, and again that will be an error because that's not going to be loaded from the controller yet. We will add that though. And then for options, this actually might cause an error, but we'll do well, it will, but we're going to do this brand options, which we will add in the controller. And then we're just going to give this thing a class of form control and form control small. And then let's see. Let's do, for the surrounding div, we're going to do another array here, and we'll give that a class of form group. And then also a call column 12. Okay, so that's going to be our brand thing. This is going to be all broken. Don't worry about it. But here's our brand thing. This will all take care of in just a moment, so don't be alarmed by that. I make another mistake with that. Artur seems to catch all my mistakes here. Input. Says I have button info attribute in my search button. Input group append. I don't know, I'll find it whenever I get to it. So I'm going to carry on. I need to add 2 more input blocks here, and then we're going to go ahead and style this thing up. This is just going to be a regular input block, and the input block, we'll be able to copy and paste this one as well. So this one is just going to be a type of number. We're going to use an HTML5 type of number there, and we'll do price minimum, and then we'll do min underscore price for the name. For the value, we're going to do this min price class form control small, and we need to give it another attribute here of step any, so that we can do decimals here. Otherwise it's going to be whole numbers only there. And then for our container div, what we're going to do is give that a class, and we'll do form group and call 6. So we'll give that 50% width there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that line down, and we just need to change a few values here. So instead of price min, this is going to be price max, and this will be max price and max price. Okay, so now that we have that form, I'm going to add just one more submit button down at the bottom of this. So I'm going to give a div with a class of row. All right, and then what we're going to do is just add another submit button here, and this will be class of button button info. And then what I'm going to do here is I want this to be full width, so I'm just going to give this a width of 100. And that will be a value of search. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in our controller really quick and take care of these errors so that they're not like disruptive, and so that we can go ahead and style this up, and then we'll come back. So the one thing that we want to do is we're going to jump to the home controller, and I'm just going to add, just for right now, I'm just going to add this min price I'm going to set that equal to a blank string for now. And we'll do this max price, also an empty string, and this brand, I'm going to do that as an empty string. And then this, what else are we're missing the brand options. And we're going to populate this stuff, but for now, just to get rid of these errors here, just so we can kind of look at it and style it correct. And I screwed up, and I have to add, let's see, I need to add this view, because we're adding that to the view object, not to the controller object. Line 17, and I did add it there. I clicked in too many spots. Oh man. All right, so we still have one here that I forgot, and that's search. So let's go ahead and fix that one as well. And I'm just gonna copy brand down to search. And that should do it. There we go. All right, so now that we have that, we're able to go ahead and I want to make this to where it's a panel that opens and closes. And we also want it to be kind of mobile friendly. And so what I'm thinking here is we're going to make this a width of like 300 pixels. That way it fits well on mobile devices in portrait mode. So we're going to do a 300 pixel width. We're going to give it a background. And then we're going to turn this into a button that can open and close this. All right, so let's see if there's anything else I'm missing here before we get going. I don't think so. So let's just dive into the CSS. And I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom here. Man, going back and dealing with these standard CSS files, like, it's kind of annoying. I usually work in Sass and I organize stuff a lot differently, which is really, really nice. If you ever have a chance to learn that, it's super easy. It's one of those things that you can get good at in a week or less, and then you can master it just as you're working in it. You don't even need to learn it all or anything like that. So what I want to do is give the 2-column wrapper a position of relative so that I can absolutely position some of the elements inside of there. So that's all I'm going to need to do in that class. The next thing I want to do is I want to target the filters wrapper. And here what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to give that a width of 300 pixels just so it's pretty mobile friendly. And then I'm going to give it a background color of, let's do FB, FB, FB. All right. The next thing that I want to do is I want to add a border, not a border. I want to add a border right. And we'll just do a 1 pixel solid EA, EA, EA. All right, the next thing I want to do is hide everything in there so that overflows. So we'll do overflow X, and we'll set that to hidden. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to make this thing absolutely positioned since it's inside of that 2-column wrapper. So what we're going to do is do position, and we'll do absolute. And then I'm going to set top. Now there's a lot of margin on our page, but I want it to look like it's all the way up to the menu. So I need to do a -48 pixels there on the top. On the bottom, we're going to do 0 pixels, so it goes all the way down. And then the left, I want it to be off the page. So we're going to do a -280 pixels. That will leave like 20 pixels plus the padding that we're going to add there. So the padding, let's just go ahead and add that. It's going to be 18 pixels. And actually we can just define, let's do top, let's give it a top padding of 60 pixels. And you'll see why we'll do that in a second. And then we'll do 50 pixels on the right just to kind of hide everything. And then we're going to do 18 on the bottom and 18 on the left. Okay, so that's our padding. I'm going to also add a transition to this because we're going to have a toggle that opens and closes this. So I'm going to do a left. We're going to transition on the left property, and we'll do a 0.2 seconds with an ease in and ease out. And we're also going to put a transition on the padding because we're going to change that right padding as well. So we're going to do 0.2 seconds and an ease there. The next thing that I want to do here is I want to make sure that this is on top of everything else. So I'm just going to give this a z-index of 2. So now if I go and refresh, I might have to empty my cache here. So now there's just this like bar over here with a border, and this you can see you can't see any of the form elements anymore, and that's because we gave it that large right padding there. So yeah, that's looking good. That's kind of what I expect. The next thing we want to do is take that button that was up, that search bar button, and we want to make that up here as kind of a button that they could click on. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And that, let's see, we called that, we had to expand filters there, and then we had the toggle icon. So expand filters. So let's go ahead and style up that expand filters real quick. So inside of the 2 column wrapper, I want to target the expand filters div, and we're also going to give this a position of absolute, and we're going to give this a top of -40 pixels, left of -13 pixels, width, this is going to be 30 pixels, height also 30 pixels. I want it to be square. All right, and then I actually want we're going to set the font size to 18 pixels just to set that the size of that icon in there, and we'll do a text align center. The next thing that I want to do is I want this actually to be round, so I'm going to give this a border radius of 50%. And then let's give it a background color of 17A2B8, and that's going to match our info buttons, our button info from Bootstrap. And then we'll give it a text color of white. And then I want this to make sure it's on top of the other deal, so I'm going to give this a z-index of 3. And then also I want to transition on this, and we're going to transition to left property. That's going to take 0.2 seconds as well with an ease transition there. The other thing that I want to do is I'm going to copy this right here, and I want to target the hover state of that, and we're just going to say cursor pointer. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Okay, let's see, is there any padding there? Okay, well, we'll leave this for now. This is going to be our icon. We're going to be switching that icon, so when it's open, this will actually turn to a chevron to show that you can close it. So you can see that we have some other issues here. Let's see. Let me take a look at my reference real quick. Oh, I see. One thing that I want to do is I want this welcome my header here to be centered, and I don't want it to be like part of the flex, because we have, if you look at the index, we have the products wrapper that was a flex box item. So this H1 is kind of flexing along with that. And so all we need to do to fix that is we're going to say a width of 100 here. So it's going to force that div to be 100% in width, which will cause these to drop down. The next issue that we've created is now some of this is hidden behind here, and we need to give this main section, we need to make sure it's moved over to accommodate for this left nav bar right here. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to jump back into CSS, and that will be, we have oh, excuse me. So that one, what we're going to do is probably, let's see, we have the 2-column wrapper. Let's just go ahead and add it down here. And we're just going to say 2-column wrapper, and then I'm going to target the products wrapper. And what we'll do is we're going to give that a padding left. Actually, you know what? Let's do let's give this some more padding because it was kind of tight anyway. So we're gonna give it a padding of 28 pixels, and then we're gonna say padding left, and we're gonna set that to 40 pixels to give it room for our nav bar. And then we're gonna set a transition on this as well. So we're gonna transition padding 0.2 seconds. That's how long our animation will take, and we're gonna ease in and ease out. All right, so now that we've done that, we've refresh. Now we have some space here between our nav bar and our main div. So that's what I want to see there. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and create this to open and close. And so the way that I'm going to do that is with a class. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to add we're going to add an open class to our 2-column wrapper. Okay, so all we need to do here is we're going to manipulate this filters wrapper. So what we're going to do is say we're going to say 2-column wrapper that also has a class of open. Then we want to target the filters wrapper, and then here we're going to say left 0 pixels. We're going to move that to the left, and then we're going to change the padding right on this to be 18 pixels, which will then match the left. So let's see what that looks like. If I go, I want to refresh here. So if I go to this 2-column wrapper, and let's just add an additional class of open here. Okay, so when I did that, you can see that this it goes ahead and jumps over, and you could actually see the transition there as well. So if I remove that, it works like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this little button up here to target this thing. All right, let me see here. Let me give this a call 12. See what that looks like. Two-column wrapper, open. I don't know why this is anyway, we'll come back to that. All right, so this is how we're going to open and close that. Now we need to also move this over there as well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if the two column, let's go back to the CSS, and we're going to look for that expand filters. And what we're going to do is we're going to say, if there's a two column wrapper that also has a class of open, then we want to target the expand filters. And this is going to be pretty easy. We just need to change the left of this to 250 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so it moves that over as well when that opens and closes. Now we're going to change that icon with JavaScript once it's open, but for now we're just kind of getting it lined up the way we want it. The next thing that I want to do, let's see, expand filters. This transition property was messed up. Okay, so now that we have that knocked out, let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. Oh, we need to see how this has covered up our products. What I want to do here is on our products wrapper. So what we're going to do is copy this. And then on the two column wrapper, we're going to target if it has an open class as well. Then all we're going to do here is make the padding left. Instead of 40 pixels, we want that to be 340 pixels. All right, so let me refresh. And then let's add that open here. Okay, and see our products all moved over with it. So if I get rid of that. Okay. So that's going pretty good. Let's go ahead now and make it to where when you click this button, it actually toggles that stuff, because now it doesn't do anything. So that's going to be really easy as well. It's going to be just a small JavaScript method that we'll add. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the index.php, and here before the end, I'm going to do some script tags. All right. And what I want to do is we're going to create a function called toggle expand filters. All right, and what this is going to do is I'm going to grab, first of all, I'm going to grab the wrapper, and the wrapper will be, we're going to use document.getElement by ID, and we're going to grab the two column wrapper. The next thing that we're going to need here is we're also going to need to grab our toggle icon. So that will be document.getElement by ID, and we called that thing just toggle icon. All right, once we've done that, what we want to do is we want to toggle, you know how we were typing in the open class here? We're going to do that with JavaScript. So we can do that really easily. We're just going to target the wrapper, and we're going to say wrapper.classList .toggle, and we're going to toggle open. Okay, so that will actually work. So we're going to come back and add the icon stuff next. But the next thing I'll do is outside of that function, we're just going to say document dot get element by ID, and we're going to grab the expand filters div, And we're going to add an event listener to that. All right, and the event listener, we're going to listen for the click to happen. And when that happens, we're going to call our function. We're going to call the toggle expand filters function. All right, so let's refresh now. We'll open up the console, make sure I don't have any errors there. And if we click on that, we can see that that is now toggling open and closed our little deal here. Okay, let me grab a drink real quick. The next thing I want to do is when this is open, I want to change this icon to like a chevron left to signify that they can close that. Okay, and so the way we're going to do that is really easy. But inside of our function here, we just need to do an if-else statement, and we're just going to say if wrapper dot class list, if the class list contains, dot contains, so if it contains open, then what we want to do is change that icon. So what we're going to say is toggle icon dot class list, and what we want to do is remove fa search, okay, and we want to add fa chevron, fa chevron left. Okay, else what we want to do is just do the exact opposite. So then if it doesn't contain open, then we want to remove the fa chevron left, and we want to add fa search. All right, that should be it for that function. We refresh. Okay. So actually, I must have a typo. It's not fixing it. That's because I forgot to do the add here and the remove there. Okay. So if we just check that now on mobile view, kind of a weird issue there. It fits within our mobile screen. And of course we use Flexbox on these, so they're going to be mobile responsive. Okay, so now that we have the CSS, and look, I understand that there are, I have some issues here with styling, but I don't want to spend too much time trying to fix that right now. You get the basic concept of how this works. One thing that's bothering me is this stupid search button. I'm not really unsure of why that's happening. It's almost as if I'm missing a closing div or something. That's one thing that's actually bothering me. Let me see if I can look at that. We have the aside. We have class of row, class of row. Actually, I don't think I'm missing that, but at any rate, again, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Maybe we'll get back to it at the end of the video and try to tidy it up some. But I think that this is this works pretty well. But now what we want to do is actually make the search part of this actually function. And so in order All right, not sure what happened. It my looked like my thing went down. So you guys let me know if somebody in the chat box let me know if you guys can still see me. It looked like my OBS studio crashed and it might have shut down the live stream for a minute. I'm not even sure when that happened or how long ago it happened, but you guys let me know if it's working. Um, okay. Thanks, Clovis. I know there's a big gap there, but thank you for letting me know that it's good. I'm not sure what happened there, but OBS did disconnect from YouTube. So I don't think I missed anything, explanation of anything. It's just that we need to go ahead and fix this stuff. JJ did say try button block instead of call 12. I'll try that. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Yeah, it looks the same. Let me get rid of this width of 100%. Okay, well, I'm not going to spend any time on that. It's probably something stupid. See if I can just inspect this to see if there's any kind of weird thing that I got going here in the CSS that may not be working. Okay. All right, let's just go ahead and jump into the actual meat and potatoes of this thing. So let's see. Let's open up the home controller, and here what I want to do is we're going to add some new. You know what we're going to do? We're going to fix this featured products thing because this has been bothering me anyway. I don't like how I did this. So what I did was I wasn't thinking right when we did this. And if you look at that method, there's this featured products method. Let's find that real quick. I use this query to run this instead of just running it on the database. So this actually needed the object to be instantiated. So I'm going to fix that right now. Let's just make this a static function. I don't care. I don't really want it to be instantiated, this object. So then what I can do is just clean this up a little bit. We can get rid of this p model thing here. And then what we can do is say products, featured products. And then what we have to do is, instead of running this query right here, all we have to do is we need to, let's make sure we have access to DB. So in the core, we're using model right here. I'm going to do a group, a use group here, and we're just going to use DB, and I'm going to move that H into there. And that will allow us to get rid of that. So now we can use the database class directly in here. So what we're going to do is get rid of this, and we're just going to say DB get instance, and then we'll query that. Okay, so let's make sure that our page still works. All right, so it works exactly the same. We didn't break anything. The next thing that I want to do is I want to actually pass information into here. So we want this featured products needs to have like search stuff added to this so that we can build up this this SQL statement a little more to make sure that we have everything that we need in here to search by. So rather than trying to explain that, I think it's easier just to show you. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some stuff here, and we're going to say we're going to add search right up here at the top. I think search will be the easiest one, so we'll just start there, and we're going to say search is equal to this request get search. Now when the page first loads, there won't be anything here, so that won't matter. Okay, so what we're going to do here then is we're going to start building up an array, and I'm just going to call that array options for now. And we're going to say, let's see, how do I want to do this? I think just to keep this clean, we'll do search, and we're just going to add search right here. And then we're going to pass this options array into our products, like that. Okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to replace this down here with our search variable. And then we can actually do the same thing with, I'm going to add min and max and brand as well. So let's see, I'm going to change this to brand. Change this to min price. And this one will be max price. And we can get rid of all of these empty strings now, and we could say max price, and then here all right. Then let's see, we need to build up this array a little bit, this options array. So we're just going to add min price max price and brand into that options array. Okay, so now we're getting any sort of values that were posted to this page, and that'll be search, brand, min or max price for now. We're passing that into these options, and then we are passing it down to this featured products method. Now for right now, this featured products method, it doesn't know what to do with any of this yet. So we need to go ahead and start building that out so it knows how to handle that information. So let's jump back to products here. And what we're going to have to do is at the top here, we're going to have to do some logic. And the logic is going to look like this. It's going to be, we need to add a where statement here. And let's see, that's going to be where products dot deleted is equal to 0. And guys, these where conditions matter on the order that we put things, right? So as far as speed, we don't want to do any sort of like text search first, because the text search inside of a where clause is going to search everything and then filter out the deleted stuff. So it works from left to right. So we want to filter out all of our deleted products right off the bat. So that's going to be there. Also, we want our product image. So pi.sort. to equal 0. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to bind. We're going to have binds, and that's going to be equal to an empty array, because we're going to replace, I forgot my semicolon here. Okay. The next thing that we have to kind of figure out is this products.featured, and I'm not sure what I want to do about that yet. So let's see. What we might do here is create another method in here. So we're going to do a protected static function, and we're just going to call this has filters, and this is going to take our options, and what we're going to do is we're going to basically go through all of our options and see if there's a value in them. So at the bottom of this, we're going to just return false, and then I think what we'll do is we'll say for each options as key value pairs, we want to say if not empty value, we want to return true. Okay, so if it gets to any of the things inside this options, if any of the values return something, then we want to return true there. Else we're just going to return false. So then what we're going to do here is we're going to say if not self has filters, and we need to pass in those options here. So if there's not any filters added, then we're going to say where, and we're going to concatenate on our products dot featured, and that's going to equal 1. So that's if there's no filters, we want the products featured thing added to this. Okay. Else it's going to skip over that, and it's just going to be make sure that they're not deleted and that the sort is there. All right. So then what we're going to do is let's go ahead and change out this SQL statement here, and we're going to get rid of this where clause, and we're going to say where, and then in here we can just put our where statement right there. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is down here in this query, we're going to add the ability to bind. Since we're getting user data here, we want to protect from SQL injection. So we need to go ahead and bind those values. So we're just going to add the binds array right there. Now, right now it's empty, but as we build out this, it won't be. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is let's go ahead and build out for each one of our things. The first thing we'll start with is just our search. So let's just say if array key exists, search. If that exists in our options array, and I haven't actually put it here, so this will go here, and it'll say options. Okay, so if the array key search exists in options and not empty options search, then what we're going to do is we're going to add on to our where statement. Okay, so this is going to be super easy. It's just going to say where, and what we want to do here is say where you know what I forgot too? This needs to be and. I forgot that on that part. So we need to do that here too. We're going to say and then inside parentheses, what we're going to do is say products.name is equal to question mark, because we're going to bind that. And then we also want to search on brand. So what we're going to do is say if products.name and not equal to, we're going to use like. And then what we're going to do is say or brands.name like, oops, question mark. Okay, so that's going to add that to our where clause. You guys stop and ask questions if you're not following. But then the next thing we need to do is we need to add to the binds array. So we're going to say binds, and then what we're going to do is say we're going to bind on a percent sign, and then we'll concatenate on options search, and then we're going to concatenate on another percent sign, and then we're just going to copy that twice because we need to bind this for this question mark and for this question mark. Okay, so it's going to add that twice. So let's test that out now. If all works well, all right, that didn't break. So I should be able to search now for Catan. Okay, we have a problem in our syntax error here in our MySQL statement. So I got something wrong there. And products.name like or. Line 7. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually dump and die this SQL. Actually, I can't dump and die that yet. Hang on. All right, now I'm going to dump and die that. We're going to search for Catan. So select products.star. I'm just checking out this SQL statement. From products, join product images as PI on products.id equals PI.product ID. Join brands on product.brands ID. Where? Oh, I must be missing a concatenation thing here, and I am right there. So it replaced that. So now we have the products.deleted and all of that here. So now this should work, unless I have another error. So let's try it. There we go. So now I searched for Catan and it pulled up just the Catan stuff. I should also be able to search I should also be able to search by brand. So let's try that. I'm going to do days, and you can see that three games came up, and they all had the brand name of Days of Wonder. So it's searching on, it's doing a fuzzy search on the product name and on the brand name. So hope that makes sense. That's what's happening there. So that's working really well. The one thing I don't like is this kind of after you search. So let's just search like Asmodee or something, right? if I search that, it works, but then when it opens back up, this is closed. And I think what I want to do is by default, we're going to add a deal where if there's any filter set, then it'll open this up, and this filter thing will be open unless they close it. So we'll do that too as part of cleanup. But I'm really happy with the search feature. Now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and do the price, min, and max, and then the brand. So the one thing that we need to do is if we're going to be searching by price, if you look to speed this up, because we might end up with millions of rows of products here, but if you look in our structure of our price table, we don't have any sort of index on price, and that's going to be a problem. It won't be you won't notice it if you don't have very many products like I don't have very many products right now. But if there were like say millions of rows and we're searching by that, we're gonna want an index there. Okay, so let's go ahead now and let's see, do I even have, I don't have name either. So let's go ahead and let me check the brands structure. I do have name there. So what we're going to do is in the products table, we're going to add a couple indexes, and we're going to add an index for name, and we're going to add an index for price. Okay, so that's going to be real easy. I'm going to jump into my terminal here, and I'm just going to run php gen migration.php. And once I've done that, that will create a new migration. And inside that migration, we're just going to set a variable called products, because that's the name of our table that we're going to manipulate. And then we're going to say this add index. And then we want to do is on the table, we're going to add an index for name. And then we're going to do this add index, and this one will be price. All right, and then I'm just going to need to run that in my browser. So I'm going to go to the config file, and I'm going to change this run migrations from browser to true. And then in the browser, we're just going to go over to our root directory, and then we're going to just type run migrations.php, and it says that it successfully added index name to products and index price to products. So let's double check that, and yes, now I have a name and a price there, so that's good to go. So that migration ran fine. I'm going to change this back to false now so that people can't access that file. And I'll close that migration. We don't need that any longer. All right, so now that we have, JJ said the search field also for the description. I debated that. I actually ultimately decided not to do that. I think that would be a huge performance problem if you had a lot of products, because our description can be a huge like HTML thing. And I think doing a fuzzy search on that is going to be a little bit of a problem. So I'm not personally going to do that. Instead, what I would recommend there is we're going to add, if we get time in this series, we're going to add something called tags to our products. And it's going to allow you to build as many tags as you want. And you can add those tags to the property. And we're going to search on those tags. That'll be a fast search. But doing a search on a full text field is probably a bad idea, performance-wise. So I'm not going to do that at this time. All right, so now let's go back to the home page. All right, and so we have our products here. Let's see. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and filter by min and max price. So we already are passing that in, so we just need to add that to our products here. So I'm going to separate this out. This is going to be pretty similar to this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to look for max price. Okay, and then the condition, what we're going to do here is we're going to say and actually what we're going to want to do is we're going to put this above the search terms, okay? So it'll search on those numbers first, and that'll speed up performance as well. So we're going to move this whole thing above search in a second. But we're going to say and price, actually products.price is less than or equal to question mark. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bind here. We're just going to bind options max price. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this if statement up above search. We want search to be last. Okay. You could probably go ahead and do, while we're at it, just do min price as well. So I'm going to copy the max price one, paste that, and then everywhere where there's an instance of max, we're just going to change that to min. And then instead of less than or equal to, we're going to make sure that this is greater than or equal to. So let's try that out. Let's see, I want to see a max price of $50. So all of our products show up that are under $50. I want to see all the products that are over $40 and under $50. So then I'm going to go do a min price of 40. Okay, so now we're narrowed down. We're between $40 and $50. So that's working well. And then we can also add search to this. So I want to see everything that's between $40 and $50 that has Catan. So now we're using a combination of search and filtering. So that's all working really well. I'm going to go ahead and clear these out. Hit search again, and we're back. All right. So that just leaves us with brand. Brand is going to be a little bit, well, brand will be really easy, but what we need to do is we need to make sure that the select box has all of our brands to choose from. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go ahead and open the models and brands model. And this is, we need to add a new method because our last one did this get options for form, took in our user ID, and basically, let's see, we could modify this get options for form to where if there's no user ID passed, it just gets all of them. Because since this might be a multi-vendor site that we're building here, we're going to need to use this for both things. So I think what we'll do is we're going to change this a little bit, and we're going to give this a default value of an empty string. And what we'll do is we're going to kind of do the same thing as we did before. We're going to say if not empty user ID. So if the user ID is not empty, then what we want to do is we're going to say, actually what we're going to have to do here is let's do options, or we'll call this params. And we're going to set that equal to an array. And I'm just going to grab this whole array right here. Paste that. Okay. And then, so if not empty, then we're going to add params conditions, and then we're going to do the equals user ID is equal to question mark, because we're going to bind that, and then we'll also do params bind, and we're going to add the user ID there, and then we'll just remove the conditions and bind from this one. So now if we don't pass the user ID, it's not going to add any of this, and it should find all of them and build out our array here. So we just modified that a little bit. So let's go ahead and, so that was called get options for form. Let's make sure we didn't break this function first. So let's go to the admin area and look at brands. Okay, so it did pull all those, so we didn't break that. But now I want to go back, let's see, to the site, and let's go ahead and use this method here on our home controller. So instead of passing an empty array here, we're just going to say brands get options for form, and then we just need to add that up here. So I'm going to create a group, a use group up here, and we're going to use brands as well. And we're not going to pass in a user ID, so we should get back all of our brands. So if I refresh, now we have our brands here. Okay, so now that we're populating our brands here, it'll be real easy for us to go ahead and add that to our search. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go back to the products model, and we're going to do that. You know what, let's do that above min and max price, because that'll narrow it down even quicker, and that will increase performance of our SQL query. So I'm going to change every instance of min price here to brand. Let me see how I did that. Yeah, it's brand. So I'm going to change that to brand, and then here for our query, we're going to say brands.id is equal to question mark. Okay, because that's going to post the brand ID to our function there. This will be brand ID. So let's just make sure that. Okay, so one thing that we're not doing here is select brands.name. Actually, that shouldn't matter. Let's try it. So if I refresh, open this up, and we're going to search by show everything with Mayfair Games. Okay, let's try Days of Wonder. Perfect. So here's our Days of Wonder games. So that's working. This is not in alphabetical order though. So let's see if we can fix that real quick. If I go to the brands, it is order by name. Wonder why these are out of order. Should be, let's see what they're doing on the admin side. They're in order here, and they're not in order for some reason here. So I wonder if that has to do with Oh, I'm so dumb. It's because I didn't pass params into this find method. So now we need to check both places again to make sure. Okay, so now these are in order. I do Catan Studios, Stonemaier, Days of Wonder. Okay. That works. Let me just double check admins, make sure we didn't break that. Okay, that's still working. All right, so actually we're looking pretty good on our filtering stuff. All right, you guys have any other questions at all right now before I move on? The next thing that I kind of want to create is that function that can check if there are any filters applied so that we can control whether or not this is open or closed by default. And so let's see if there's a easy way to do that. I think what we'll do is we're going to pass this options down to another method that we'll create here in our controller. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a private function, and we're just going to call this has filters, and that will take our options, and we're going to do basically the same exact logic as before. We're going to return false by default, but first we're going to do a for each loop, and we'll say for each options as key value pair. Then we're going to say if not empty value, then I want to return true. All right, so then what we can do is we're just going to say this view has filters, and that's going to equal this has filters, and then I'm going to pass options into that. Okay, so now we can use that inside of our view. So now what we can do is up here, let's just go ahead and open some PHP tags here. And I'm going to set a variable called open class, and that's going to be equal to this has filters. If that's true, then we're just going to add a class of open. Else, we're going to return an empty string. So let me close those PHP tags there. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to simply echo that open class right there. So that should actually take care of that. Did I make a mistake on? So has filters. This view has filters. Oh, I know what I did wrong. This can't be. I tried to use that as a method. All right, so it's closed by default. If I add a filter and it refreshes, that stays open now, so that's working. I can still close it if I want. The other issue here is this icon is wrong. So what we need to do there is we're going to say open icon, and that's going to check on this has filters as well. So that'll also be a ternary. But what we'll do here is if it has filters, then we're going to return this, our fa chevron left. Else we're going to do fa search. And then what I can do is inside of this class right here, we can just echo out open icon. All right, so let's try that. So I can still open and close these. Let's see if there's no filter present. It's closed by default. If I do a filter, then it stays open so you can see those filters. I kind of like that, so I'm going to keep that, I think. All right, let's see what JJ says. JJ says min and max range can be forced to be on actual min and max product prices. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Could you restate the question a little bit? I think that's what it's doing. Can be forced to be on actual min and max product prices. Let me see if I made a mistake that you're talking about here. So on min price, we're saying it's greater than or equal to the price that's passed in. And on max price, we're saying it's less than or equal to the price that's passed in. So that should be exactly what it's doing. So let me know if I'm not understanding your question. I'll leave this up for a little bit so you can see those 4 filters. Also, I mean, this logic here could have probably been extracted out of this method to clean this. This method got kind of big, this featured products method. So we could have actually created some sort of like, just moved all this logic to some other method. But for now, I'm okay with it here. We might actually clean that up at some point. All right. So we were cruising right along. Get a drink of water. Waiting for you guys to ask questions. So basically, the other thing that we wanted to do here is add pagination. And since we've already kind of worked in this product so heavily, it'll probably be a good idea to go ahead and knock pagination out now. I don't think we'll have time to work on the tagging of products or the options of products in this video. So maybe what we'll try to do is finish up pagination and see where we're at with time. So JJ, man, I don't know if I answered your question or not. I'm sorry if I didn't. Just ask again or ask in a different way, and maybe I'll be smart enough to understand what you mean. If you're talking about using like MySQL, it has some functions. It has, I think, a min and max or a range function. So you could use like between this number and this number. You could do that. The only reason I didn't do that is because we're not guaranteed that they're going to do both a min and a max price. So that would probably break that. So actually just going to go ahead and leave it the way it is so that they can do either or. They can do a max price or a minimum price, but they don't have to put both of them in there. So that's the reason I didn't use like the kind of the range functionality of MySQL. We could do min or max. I don't know performance wise if that's any different than what I've done. You guys could do some performance tests and let me know. If this is a really fast query anyway. So I'm not super concerned about how long the query takes. Oh, so you're saying like default values for min and max range. I don't think that's a really good idea. I think that filter itself is like if you look at that in like eBay or Amazon or Craigslist or wherever they have them, generally those don't have values in them, because like who am I to decide like what someone's min and max price that they want to pay for something is? That's something that's kind of hard to set a default on, and so that's why I did it this way. Again, look guys, there's many ways to to skin this cat. This is just the way that I thought of tonight. You guys can, if you guys want to do something different, you can. My challenge to you though is make sure that you're constructing these where statements in such a way that it filters things down quickly, before it gets to any sort of searching or anything or intensive SQL functionality, because that will, as you add more and more to your database, that will kill performance quickly. And so if you look at this the way I constructed this, the first thing it checks is make sure they're not deleted. Now remember, deleted has an index, so that part of the query is going to be really fast. The sort on the product image also is indexed, so that will be very quick. This products.featured, this also is an indexed field, and that's only that will get either featured products or not. And then I went down to brand ID. So that's next, and that will eliminate a lot of things in your database. And then as you go down, then I'm checking on price, which is a little more intensive than these other things. Even though there is a an index, these will be quick. So this one down here, the way I understand MySQL, and I could be wrong, but if you use this % sign to make this fuzzy, it can't use an index. Even though we added an index for products.name, I don't think it can use the index when it's searching with this with these % signs. And that's why I put this this part at the end, so that it filters all the products down first by these other things, and then it takes what's left and tries to filter and do the search by text there. So my challenge to you guys, if you change this, the way this functions, is just make sure that that the performance stands up to what this is doing. If you run the query and it's faster than mine, let me know. On your machine, if you run it and what you've done made it a ton slower, try to look at it and see if there's a way you can optimize the query statement so that it speeds it back up. Okay. Also, make sure you have your indexes and everything properly set up. All right, so let's jump in and work on let's work on adding our pagination. Okay, so the way we're going to do it first, before we work on any sort of HTML or CSS, let's just make, since we're already in the back end, let's make the back end work with this. Now let me see, I don't have a crap ton of products in my database. I think I have 13 products, and one of them's deleted, 2 of them's deleted. So I got like 11 products to search on. So we're gonna set the numbers really low just to test things with, maybe like 5 products or 4 products per page. We'll change that at the end, but just to make sure pagination is working the way that we expect, let's just add like 4 products per page only, and then do some logic to get the rest of it. Okay. All right. So what we need to do is inside our query, we need to do a limit and offset. So limit, let's set limit to 4, and then let's set offset to 0. And let's see what happens here. Okay, so now I have 4 products. These are the first 4 products, so it ends with Lords of Waterdeep. And let's just change this offset to 1 and see what happens. Okay, so now I got another set. And then let's change the offset to 2. This should probably only be 1 or 2 products. Wait a minute, what did I do? 3. I don't have that many products. Five. Let's just try this. Let's go to our products thing. I'm gonna run a raw SQL statement here. And I'm just gonna say select all from products. And then we're just gonna do a limit for offset 3. So it goes IDs 3 to 7 there. Limit for offset 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this is just a math thing. So I'm not too concerned about this right now, but let's go ahead and let me just double check MySQL limit offset order by group by. I need to make sure this is in the right order here. So the order has to be, so it goes group by, order by, then the limit and offset. Group by, order by, limit, and offset. So let's look at that. Let's just make sure we have that right. I don't even have an order by here. So order by products dot name. I don't really want to do that. I'm just testing it real quick. We're in the S's there. If I take that offset 0. Now A, C, C, L. Okay, so that works. Okay. I kind of want these to be random still, so I'm going to remove that order by. I was just testing that. All right, so now that we've hard-coded that, what we need to do is we need to be able to pass this limit and offset down. And the way we're going to do that is through our options array here. And we're going to need to update this has filters thing. So we're going to say if not empty value and key is not equal to limit and key is not equal to, and I know I did that logic wrong, so I'll fix that, offset. So if it's not equal to offset or limit, Actually, I copy all of this. And I'm kind of breaking my rule here of having dry code, so we're going to fix that too. Because we have this in 2 places now. So we only want this in 1 place. So let's see, it makes probably the most sense to keep that in the... Man, I'm not sure what makes the most sense. I'm going to leave it in products for now, I guess. And so we're going to go ahead and get rid of, this is going to be products has filters, and we're going to delete this because we don't want repeated code. And then we're going to update the products here. So this is a protected static function. So all right, so that should work. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to replace this limit and offset with our options here. And in order to do that, let's just I guess up here at the top, we'll just do limit is equal to, and we're going to say we're going to do a ternary here, and we're going to say if array key exists, limit in the options and not empty options limit. Then we're going to return options limit, else we're going to set this to 4 here, and we'll change that later. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy that, and this is going to be offset. So everywhere where it says limit, I'm just going to change that to offset. And then that default will be 0. Okay. The next thing that I need to do, we're going to need to know, well, let's go ahead and plug these values in here. So this will be limit. This will be offset. Actually, we probably need to bind these. So right here above this, I'm going to say binds, and the first one was limit, and then binds offset. Okay, so now we have limit and offset. The other thing that we're going to need in this function is we're actually going to need the total results. And so let's see if we can. All right. So this SQL, we're going to change this up a little bit. What we're going to do here is, we're going to change all this up. So what we're going to do is response is going to equal an array. And this array is going to we're going to pass this back as results, and then we're going to have another element in this array called total. So that will be total. So then what we're going to do here is I'm going to remove this stuff from limit and offset. And then oh crap. You guys will see what I'm doing here in a second. I'm trying not to change. I'm trying to use this function the best that I can. All right, the first thing we're going to do, okay, yep. So select here is just going to be select count dot star products dot star. Okay. Then what we're going to do is this is going to plug in our select there into that SQL statement, and then nope, we're going to leave it just like this. I'm going to add a space at the beginning of that. Move this stuff down here. Okay, so now we can find the total. So we're going to say total is equal to select, and then we're going to concatenate on SQL. Okay. And actually we're going to do, you know what we'll do too is at the top of this, we're going to add db is equal to db get instance, so that we can just use that. All right, so here we're going to say db query, and this is going to query our select and SQL parts, and then we're going to throw binds in there. So total is actually, the first time this runs, it's going to combine these two, and it'll have our binds and everything, but it's going to get the total amount. So that'll be total. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say results is equal to, we're not going to do it there actually. We're going to need to do that below this right here. So then we're going to say results is equal to db query, and yeah, we're going to need to add more to the SQL statement as well. So this will be, we're just going to say select, we're going to concatenate on SQL, and then we're going to concatenate on our pager. I don't know, we'll just call it pager. And then we're going to pass in binds, and we're going to return results. All right, so I know this is kind of a barrel of fish hooks right now. I'm going to explain it more after we get this worked out. So I can just replace this now with results, and total is going to be this total, and I think we have to do first there. All right, so we'll see what that says in a second. Oh, so we're going to do select count. We'll just do count as total here, and then we're going to return total. Okay, so that should work. The last thing that we need to do is add back in our limit and offset stuff. So in order to do that, let's just create, this is going to be pager, and that's going to be equal to a space, limit, space, question mark, space, offset, space, question mark. And then it'll add the binds of the limit and offset there. So that'll give us the select statement, which at this time will be changed to this, and then our SQL, and then it'll add this pager stuff, update the binds, and then it'll run for results here. And then when it returns, it's going to return results and total. Okay, so then what we can do in the home controller is products now is going to be equal to products, featured products. So let's just do, I'm going to set that to results. And then we're going to say products is equal to results, and total. And actually here we can just say this view total is going to be equal to, actually, you know what? Not yet. I'm just going to say total is equal to results, and then that will be total. All right. So now we should be able to get products and total back. So let me just dump and die total. Now the reason we did this is because we can't include, let me just go back and talk to you guys for a minute. We can't include the limit and offset with our total, because what we're trying to do is find all the products that match our SQL query, just a number, so that we can build out the pagination, because we're going to need to do some math to know how many pages there are available. Okay, so we need to get the total amount of products. Okay, so that's what we're going to do first, and that doesn't include the limit and offset. The next thing we do is we actually get the results of our query with a limit and offset so we can do pagination. Okay, that's why we had to change this method around quite a bit. So this method just got a little bit more complex, but it's not really that bad if you just take it and break it down by section and look at it. Like I said, some stuff we could do to make this better is we could actually like move all of this to its own method, and that would greatly simplify this featured products thing. But for now, just to make sure it's working, let's leave it all together, and then let's try this out. So let's go back to refresh here. So we got an error in the syntax and our SQL. So it's next to our select count products. Let me look up, make sure I did that right on MySQL. MySQL example for count. I want to make sure I have that right. Okay, that seems to be right. So let's go and dump out our SQL statement. Select count products.star. Maybe we get rid of the products dot. Let's try that first and just see if it works. Null. Select count. I think we need to do the products.star here. Where am I doing that dump and die? Let's move that to our and what I want to do is I want to dump and die I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll dump and die select SQL. Why didn't it make what? Why didn't it make it there? Oh, I see. Let's just make sure this is right. Select count products.stars total from products, join products images. We actually might not be able to do products.star for some reason there. We might have to do select star. All right, so let's see. Oh. What? Call to protected method has filters. Let's change that to public. All right, so we're getting closer. Let's just see what we have now. One. Oh, you know what it is? It's not the first. The problem is this is getting really screwed up from the group by stuff. So I need to think through. Oh boy. I'm gonna get rid of the group by. I actually don't think we need that right now at all. Actually. Group by stuff starts getting really bizarre sometimes. Let me get rid of the group by here. Okay, so that came up with 8. Okay. So let's try that now. Without the group by and see if everything still works. We might have to add the group by back, but possibly not. Results. There's 8 there, and then we need to tell it. Let's look at results. Okay, so we got 4 back to that. So I must just have a problem here. So products is equal to results, results. So let's just see if I'm getting this back. Get rid of the dump and die here. I think we're good. I think this is just a problem now on the null. And that's probably because I'm stupid, and I think I know exactly what's wrong here. And that is because I'm not returning anything from this function. Wow. All right. So there we go. We have an array with results, and we have total. So now should be good to go. Let's figure that out. The reason we're getting 8 is because it's only getting the featured products first, which is what we want. All right. Next, let's now if I get rid of this dump and die, the page should load just fine now. All right, so we have 4 items here, and let's just go and do a min price of $5. Okay, so next for that one, we still have 4 items, but our total should be different. So if I go and do our dump and die here, this should actually 11. Yep. So that's not 8 anymore. There's 11 because it gets rid of the featured thing. So that's working as I expect it to work. So I think that's good to go. So what we need to do now is we actually need to pass in the values from the controller. Okay. So what we're going to do here is in our options, we're going to add some additional information here. So let's go ahead and make this array look a little nicer. And let's add some additional stuff here. Let's say we're going to say limit, and we're just going to hard code this for now to 4. And then let's do offset. Now this is interesting. This one's going to have to be this request. Actually, you know what? We need to set this up. So offset is going to be a variable that we'll set up here. So we're going to say page is going to equal this request get page. All right. And that's going to be we're going to say if let me look at something real quick in my for. I'm gonna look at the input. So I have is put is get data. Okay. There's some ways that I can improve that, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if not empty this request get page, then we're going to return that. Else what we're going to do is we're going to return page 1. Okay. Then what we're going to do here, we need to tell it the offset. So we're going to say offset is just equal to page minus 1. So if it's page 1, then the offset is 0. Okay. If it's page 2, offset will be 1. Okay. So that's the way that it's going to expect it. So then what we can do is we can actually start just start figuring this up. So we could do up here at the top, I can just do something like page equals 3, and that should give us different results than page equals 2. I think what I want to do here is I want to do SQL, and we're going to concatenate on order by products dot name. Let's see how that works. It's not, there's still something goofy going on here. I got a problem. All right. And again, I added this order by just to see what's going on here. The limit. Let me just double check something. Make sure I'm not making a stupid mistake. Limit offset example. This is an interesting problem. This might take me some thought to figure this out. So I think what we'll do, the problem I think is coming from this really complex SQL statement where we're joining a bunch of product images and we're joining brands and we're joining all this stuff. And what's essentially happening is I think it's just throwing off our limit and orders, our limit and offset stuff. And so yeah, it's just not respecting the limit and offset. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to mess around with this. Ah, I see. Maybe I have to rebuild those joins a little bit to do the limit inside of that join. Let me try that real quick. Well, you know what? We'll come back to this if we have time. Let's go ahead and get the HTML part of this done. The numbers are going to be wrong, and it's getting the wrong information because this query is messed up. So let's see. From products. I have an idea. See, it's just there's something screwy going on here. There should be only 2 pages, basically. There's 8 featured products, and Yeah, this is so screwed up. This is going to get somewhat complex to figure out. So again, what I'm going to do is come back to this when I have an answer. I'm going to have to work on this probably outside of the live stream. Yeah, Denise says we removed the group by in the query, and she's asking if I'm going to add it again. And I am adding it. I am adding it back here. I just think that this group by is probably what's really screwing us up here. So I will, again, I'm going to I had to look into this more and let you guys know what's going on there. I'll either shoot a separate video and send it out once I figure it out before the next live stream, or we'll do it on the next live stream. But what I want to do with our remaining time is go ahead and get the pagination stuff set up so that it's running, so that it should be working, and then it'll actually function correctly once we fix the SQL statement. We might come back to and do a little more research after we do this if this goes really quick. It shouldn't actually be that bad. So what I'm actually going to do is let's in the index.php in our main area here underneath our for each, I'm going to go ahead and add a new div, and we're going to give this div a class equal row. And actually we're going to give this a deflex and then justify content center, and then align content center. I believe that's the bootstrap stuff for that. So let's look up the grid. Flexbox utilities. Let's see. Justify content center, and then I'm just checking the align one. Align items center. Yep. So I was correct on that. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some buttons here, and actually we'll do a link href. So this href is going to see. So we're going to say span. We're going to say this page, and I need to echo that out. So we're going to echo out this page. Whoa. And then space of, and then we're going to echo out this total pages, and then we're going to have another link, and we're going to do some more logic here to make this work, but I'm going to do a class equal to fastfa chevron right, and I'm going to copy that, and we'll do chevron left, And then I'm going to do MT3. I believe that'll work. Yep. And so now we need to pass in to our view. We need to say this view page is equal to page, and this view what do we call that, total pages, is equal to we do need to put our limit. Let's do our limit. For now we're going to say 4, and then change this to limit. And then what we can do is the total pages is going to be our total, okay, divided by limit. And then what we need to do is we need to round that up. So we're going to use the ceiling method, our PHP function. Three of 1. So it's all screwed up right now. Let's see. Page 1 of 1. Let's see. So total results. Let me just make sure there's no. Okay. The other thing I need to do here to make this work is this needs to be a width 100. Okay, so we have that. These we're going to style up and disable them. Obviously there's more than one page of this, 'cause this is wrong. I think that's because yeah, we'll probably have to solve that when we solve these total. Let me see. Let me just see if removing this group by fixes that issue. Don't worry, Denise. We're gonna make all that right. But so it's saying there's 1 of 2, and that's correct. That's actually a correct number because there's 4 pages, or there's 8 here. So then if I actually come in and say give me anything over $5, now you can see there's 3 pages because there's a total of 11. So the issue that we're getting into is just some weird crap going on with these group bys. So now we're on page 2 of 2. Yeah, so now we're at page 3 of 3. It's just the stuff that's being returned isn't correct right now. And that's because of our SQL queries still got some issues in it that we need to work through. Okay, so we're getting closer though. Let's go ahead and try to style this up a little bit. And we're gonna just go here and we're gonna give this a style of button default, both of these. looks like. Oh, did Bootstrap get away from their default? They did. So I guess let's use secondary. Oh, I added that in the href for some reason. I had two issues with that. So that's actually the class. I don't actually like that secondary one for that. I will use a light. So button light, light. And then what I also want to do is I'm going to do margin left 3 on both of these. Except for this one would be margin right 3. And I must have an issue. Justify, content, center, align, content. This might be items. There we go. So 2 of 2. Go back to page 1, 1 of 2. Okay, so there we go. We got that working. Now we just need to make the actual links work, and then we'll hide or disable them, like the back. If it's page 1, this is disabled. So that one's really simple. So what we'll do is let's do a PHP tag here, and we're going to say disable back, and that will be we're going to return if this page is equal to 1. Okay, the next thing I want to do is do a disable forward or something, or disable next, and that's going to be if this total, or if this page is equal to this total pages, then that'll be true. Okay, so then I think what we can do is just in this link we can say disabled is equal to, and then I'm going to echo out disabled back. We'll do the same thing for the other button. We'll say disable next. I'll have to look into that. So the next thing we need to do is actually give these things an href to make it work. And so what we're going to do here is this will be href you know what? I actually think these, because of our filters, we don't want to reset our filters each time. So we need to not use these as links. These need to be buttons, and we will actually post to the page with JavaScript. Yeah. So, yeah. So what we're going to do here, this won't be difficult. We're actually going to add a hidden input up here. And let's do FH hidden input. And the hidden input is going to be page. And the value is going to be this page. Okay? Then what we'll do is we're going to create a function that these will, so let's see, we're going to do a button. These are outside the div, so they shouldn't actually submit the form, but let's test that theory real quick. Okay, so they don't. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is let's add wait a minute, did I not save that? Whoa. I do the dumbest things sometimes. Okay, so they're not submitting the form, which is good. So the thing we're going to do here is we're going to do function, and then we're going to say pager, and we will we're going to pass in a direction. And then we're going to say, let's just grab a couple things. First of all, we're going to want our form. And our form is going to be equal to document document.get element by ID. And let's just grab that form by ID. So let's look up here. We have a form here without an ID. So let's add an ID, and we're just going to say ID is equal to filter form. Okay, so now we can just grab that filter form. We also want to grab our input, and we're going to say var input is equal to document.get element by ID, and that will be page. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to if direction, actually, you know what? Okay, so this will be var new page value is going to be equal to input. Actually, it's going to be, we're going to set a ternary here. We're going to say if direction is equal to up, then what we're going to do is we're going to add input dot value plus 1. Else we're going to do input dot value minus 1. And then we're going to say input dot value is equal to new page value. And then what we're going to do is say form dot submit. So what that should do is set a page value. So let's. All right, JJ, see you next week, buddy. Get some sleep. So if I click this, let's open up. Oh, we need to add event listeners for these. Or we could just do on clicks here. But I'm going to add event listeners. Yeah, we'll do on click, and we're going to run on click pager, and here this is going to be down, or no, back. I'm going to change the other one too. Here, do on click pager next. And then down here I need to change this direction. So instead of doing up, we're going to say next. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, nothing's happening. So first of all, let's just start console logging some stuff. So console log form, console log input, console log new page value. Doesn't seem to be. Just get rid of these disabled things real quick. Make sure that's not causing us any problems. Okay, we got null on the form, that's a problem. And we got a problem with the concatenation of the +1. Okay, so then what we're going to do, I think, is we're going to say var page is equal to parse int input dot value, and then we're going to do a radix of 10. Oops. And then here, this is going to be page +1, page -1, and then we need to figure out why the form isn't showing up. So form ID is filter dash form. So here, yep, I have a typo there. So let's try that now. Okay, that's actually working. So now we need to actually get our, so let me get rid of this stuff here. Console logs. So it actually works and submits the form. So page 1 of 2, page 3 of 2, 4 of 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So now we need to work on disabling those buttons. So let's see. Let's just see what these say. So disabled is equal to disable back. Let's see, I refresh. Oh, disabled equals 1. So let's do this. All right, and then here, you can actually copy that and disable next. All right, there's more than one way to skin this cat. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to return disabled. Actually, we need to disabled is equal to disabled. Okay, else we're just going to return an empty string, and then the same thing here. We're going to do disabled is equal to disabled. Else we're going to do an empty string. And then what we need to do is just get rid of this attribute. This attribute. You can butt that right up to there. All right, let's see what that gives us. Okay, so we have our front end working. We don't have, we just don't have our back end SQL statement exactly right to where it's returning the right amount of stuff. So I can't click back and go lower than 1, and then I can't go up past 2, which is what we want. By the way, I'm not going to leave this at 4. I'm not going to leave this at 4 products. We have it at 4 products now, just to test our pagination stuff. So both of them are disabled there. That's good. Between 5 and 100 or 200, whatever. Okay. So we have a couple issues still to work out. I don't know that I want to dive into I don't know that I want to dive into the SQL issue tonight, just because I'm kind of fried from working on this all night. We have our filters, they're working correct, and we have our pagination front end working, and our back end needs some help still. Didn't quite figure out this yet, which really upsets me. I'm going to do another look really quickly, just at my CSS to see if I'm missing something. Top, right, bottom, left. Mm-hmm. Look at my reference real quick. I know I didn't have that issue. Let me do another containing div here. And what I want to do is do class equal column 12. Get rid of that here. This is going to fix this. We fixed one of the annoying issues. All right. That is fixed, believe it or not. So now we can add the W100 back in. Refresh. Yep, now that lines up with our form. So that makes me really happy. Let's see. We have an odd little bit here. Oh, I see. Yep, we need to do a little bit more work on this page. So what we're going to do, I think, is give me 1 second to check something. I think we have one more little CSS issue that I can fix really quickly before we call it a night. Um, okay, let me look at this. Padding bottom. Container fluid has a padding left of 15 pixels. Okay. So instead of doing our CSS, instead of doing the open, or I think we can fix this here. So filters wrapper, we're gonna add 15 to this, so 295 maybe, and then instead of left, we're gonna do minus 15 pixels. So let's see if that fixes that. Dang it. All right, one more little adjustment here, and that is okay. And I just want to check something real quick. So instead of doing FB, 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 I just want to make sure this is right. I'm having a hard time seeing it. Okay, it's right. Okay, that's why I was just double checking. So I'm going to put that back at FB, FB, FB. Okay. Alright guys, well, if you have any questions, we're right at the end of the video here. So I think you guys let me know if you'd rather me shoot a supplemental video once I figure this out and just post it to fix the SQL query, or if you just rather wait till next week. If I figure it out before next week, maybe I can do a supplemental video if you guys want that, or we can just fix it next week. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please let me know about that, and then I will update that accordingly, however you want that. So I'll either just record a video and upload it just to show you how to fix that once I figure it out, or we can wait till next week and I can show you there. But let me know, guys, in the comment section. Next week, what we'll probably focus on is, because I've had some requests on this, is adding options. So when you go to see details, what I wanted to be able to do is, if you have options, go ahead and choose what options. So you can use options for size. You could use it for many different things. So we'll probably add options here. So if you're selling like clothing and you need different sizes to choose from, or you just have different variations of the same product, we're going to create something called options there. And then we may go ahead and do tagging. So let me know which of those two is more important to you. We may only do one more episode of this series. Just depends. One or two more. Definitely going to do the options thing because I've had a couple people ask for that now. The tagging thing I'm not sure if we're going to do yet. So you guys let me know what you want to see there. I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes to respond there. And while you're doing that, let me go ahead and share my screen. So I'm just kind of waiting for everything to get caught back up on the live stream, because there is a delay between when I'm asking these questions and when you guys are able to answer them. But I do appreciate you guys being here tonight. I know that we struggled through a few things, but hey, that that's the nature of actual programming, and everything like that. Also, I just want to mention this shirt I'm wearing. I don't really like this shirt at all, so don't think I'm a sexist or something. Actually, this shirt was given to me by a coworker who really likes the band Motley Crue. It's a Motley Crue shirt, and he got the wrong size, and he gave it to me for free. And it happens to be one of the most comfortable shirts that I have. And so I had it on underneath a hoodie today because I never wear this out in public because I don't think it's not really representative of how I feel as a person because of this woman. I like the American flag thing. I just don't like this woman intertwined with it. It just kind of makes me seem like a pervert or something. But I didn't design the shirt, but I don't really like to advertise that much. And plus, I don't really like Motley Crue as a band that much. They're somewhat entertaining here and there, but I don't listen to them ever. But anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there in case you guys were wondering if I'm a big Motley Crue fan or whatever while I'm waiting on your answers. So anyways, but this is legitimately the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn in my life. The fit and the fabric and everything is like so soft. It is the most comfortable shirt. That's why I can't bring myself to get rid of it. I tried wearing it inside out before. I was gonna wear it as a workout shirt, and when I went to the gym, I turned it inside out, and you could still see everything, and it just looked weirder. So, all right. Well, I haven't gotten any feedback yet, so I guess you guys just want me to do whatever I want to do. So, anyhow, guys, it's 10 o'clock. You guys can comment on this video afterwards, or if you watch this in the future, send me some comments, and I will respond, and we will do this accordingly. But thank you for being here tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you've subscribed to my channel if you haven't yet. Make sure you comment on this video, like it, and share it. That really helps me. So if you've gotten anything out of this series, please help me out in return by making sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell notification. And guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And we will see you guys next week. Possibly before, if I figure out what the issue is, I will upload the video as soon as I can. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.